successful investor, just wanted to grow his business. And anyway, he was very, very patient. I used to go into his office when I was writing up a postcard or writing a new letter or an advertisement or something like that and ask him for his advice, just to read over the copy or whatever. And he would say, well, that's not exactly what a note and mortgage is, or whatever the case may be. I was always making mistakes, but very, very fortunate to work for him. While I was doing marketing for him, he taught me real estate. And so I was fortunate enough to work for him for a few years. He became my mentor. While I was working for him, I bought a couple of rental properties over those few years and got a taste for real estate. And then about 3 years after beginning to work for him, I had an opportunity to go into real estate full time. And a buddy of mine and I, we basically went into business with somebody that became a joint venture partner with us, kind of like what Peter was saying. And my very first transaction in real estate full time was to buy 24 houses in one transaction.
Wow.
And it was awesome. And talk about just a rush. I've never done drugs in my life, but to me, that is such a high to do something like that. And then 3 weeks later, we bought 10 more houses. And so within a month, I had bought 34 houses, and the rest, I guess you could say, is history.
Wow.
And I got started, Peter was saying when he got started, I got started in 2007 is when that happened. So again, another great time to get in real estate, right?
Which is the best time to get in real estate? Which would you say is the best time?
I think anytime. I think right now is the best
now.
Time. Yeah, right now. That's right.
Yesterday I would have said right now. Tomorrow I'll say right now.
Exactly.
See how this works?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and was it hard for you to do that change from marketing to real estate and everything that come with that?
It was a process. It was definitely a process. I had to learn. I was very fortunate that I had a very good mentor. He coached me along. And so I think that's very important, is to have someone that that you trust, that already knows the game and everything. So that was very, very fortunate. Hey, there are always butterflies, in my opinion. I still get butterflies right before I make a phone call or right before I'm, talking to someone. I mean, the butterflies are going to be there, but it doesn't take away. Just because you have butterflies doesn't mean that you can't put the fear aside or push through the fear and do what you really want to do. In fact, I was just on a call before we got on, talking to another student and investor. He's doing phenomenally well. And and by the way, Nate kind of alluded to this a while ago, but he's in South Florida, supposedly where it's just really, really competitive and all this kind of stuff. And he is absolutely killing it. And he told me about a deal that he's going to lock up. He's just done one the other day, doing another one tomorrow morning. And we were talking about it, and he basically said, I still go out and get afraid. I'm still afraid of talking to people, but I absolutely love helping the people that fall into these, unfortunate situations and everything. And that helps him to push through or overcome any kind of fear that might be there.
Awesome.
And it's awesome.
That's great. And what about you, Nate?
My story is a little bit different. 5 years ago, my wife, Jennifer, and I, we got invited to speak at a conference in Phoenix, a real estate investing conference. And that's where we met a gentleman that was flashing a Rolex and telling us about these giant development projects in Chicago and a bunch of other projects in different states. And for me, I was like a little kid. I wanted in. I'm like, yes, I want in. And then a few weeks later, I found myself sitting at my dining room table, and I'm about to sign loan documents on some of the projects. And Jennifer looks at me, my wife, and says, I don't know, Nate, we don't really know this guy. Are you sure you want to do this? And I said, Jennifer, we've been investing for 7+ years. This is the way that we grow. This is going to be good for us. And then about 6 months later, Rolex boy, his partner, calls me and says, Nate, we've got trouble on one of our big projects. We're upside down. You got to jump ship right now. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I got everything invested in this project. I can't pull out right now. Like, I'm going to do anything I have to do to make this project work. And that's why 3 months later, I found myself selling. We sold our boat. We sold all of our rental properties. And literally, as I'm loading duffel bags in the back of our car, we're leaving, ripping my wife, Jennifer, and our 2-year-old baby son at the time, Bianco, away from our house in the suburbs next to Lake Independence. And we're moving to a 1-bedroom apartment in Chicago where we're going to share a full-size bed together. And I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this thing work. And I did. I actually finished the development project. I spent 2.5 years of my life like making sure that those things got done. But what happened is I ended up broke, and broke to the point where I literally had to ask Jennifer to start cleaning houses for us. And I did the one thing that I never thought that I would have to do in 1,000 years. And I went through bankruptcy during that. And for me, I immediately got back to work, literally started looking for opportunity. And I found a guy doing something pretty interesting in real estate on Facebook. And I reached out to him and I started implementing his process. And I found myself in a position where I made 40 grand pretty fast. And then 6 months later, we made $500,000 in revenue. And then a year later, we hit $1 million in revenue. And that's the point in which like Bianco got his own bedroom again. And we put him in piano lessons. And I was still doing like all the right things. I was working out of our spare bedroom as my office. I was tithing. Jennifer and I shared a car, and we were trying to do everything the right way. And then that's when I got an email from my bankruptcy attorney, Ben, and he said, Nate, you've got trouble, man. The bankruptcy trustee, they think that you actually hid money, and they don't think that you could go from $0 to $500,000 in 6 months. No one does that. And so the next thing I knew, I was going through audits and depositions, and they even deposed my own bookkeeper at this point. And
Wow.
but I went back to the bankruptcy attorney. I'm like, but Ben, hold on a second here. Just show them the truth. Like, the truth is on my side. Show them everything truthful. And Ben said, it doesn't matter. Like, whatever they can convince the judge is what the trustee will do. And if they can if they don't believe you, then maybe they have a chance of making the judge not believe that. So after a couple of weeks, I turned to prayer. I went to my mother-in-law, who runs a large mothers and fathers prayer group, and I found myself on a Zoom call with 50 moms and dads from across the globe, and we prayed week after week after week. And this went on for about 3 months, and after 3 months, the trustee called and said that we've dismissed the case. We've reviewed everything, and there's nothing wrong. You did everything the right way, and they totally dismissed it. And fast forward with some time, and we got a chance to really rebuild our business. And now we've got a very blessed position. We're now serving more than 200 real estate investors across the country, and we're helping them build their business because we got a chance to learn a lot of stuff on the journey. Like we had to learn how to rebuild from zero again in a short window of time. And it's not easy to do that. A lot of times when people come to us looking for help with their real estate business, they're coming because they really need it. They either want to scale their business, or they're at a point in their life where they're like, this has got to work for me. In whichever position it is, like, we're good at it because we've got guys like Chris and guys like Peter who come in and they listen. They understand the situation of our students, and then they really apply, like dig down deep and figure out what it is that needs to make the needle move. And that's what we call execution coaching. It's not the same as just like jumping into some pre-recorded course and going through the motions without getting feedback. Like when you got guys like Chris and like Peter who are actually spending time with you, going through your business, you can skyrocket. You take off so fast. That's my answer to your question, Louisa.
Thanks, Nate. And really interesting story. Like, you'll have very interesting stories. So, and after you got in, like, how do you keep it going? How do you and what we were speaking about fear, how do you manage to put it aside and make it something like that keeps on going?
How do you put the fear aside?
Yeah. Yeah. Like we were speaking that it's something that will always be there, and not only on real estate, but on many other things. Like, how do you keep it at bay?
So for me, like I've got 2 kids now. I had 1 kid at the time that I went through some turbulence, but I never want to be in a position where I can't be a good provider, where and you actually, it's even deeper for me. Like, and I don't really like talk publicly about the donations and stuff that I do, but I'm going to talk about one specifically. I've got this small ministry that I help support, and it's not a huge amount, but the family that gets it, they go out and they do missions work. And if I ever had to call them and say, "Hey, I'm so sorry, I can't support you guys," I would feel so bad. Like, so I just will not let that happen. Never. Like, I'm going to push. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make sure that I'm going to do it in the right way, an ethical way, and always do the right thing. But I don't ever want to go back on a commitment that I made. And I watched it actually just about 4 or 5 days ago. We were short a property because we had one property that the seller, for whatever reason, the deal was starting to fall apart. And one of our team members, Kate, stepped up big time, and she went and found a deal. And it took about 2 hours. It actually wasn't about, it was exactly 2 hours and 33 minutes from the time that she got it under contract till the time that it sold. And it brought us an 11K margin. It's not closed yet, but it'll be closed by the end of this month. And when you fully commit yourself, when you say, you know what, I'm drawing the line and I'm not going to go backwards, like I'm supporting whatever it is that motivates you. Like for me, it's that small charity group, but whatever it is that motivates you, when you draw that line, fear can't overcome you. Like you overcome fear. You do whatever it takes to make sure that you're going to hit the goal.
Oh, okay.
Can I piggyback on that a little bit? I think purpose, right? When you have a purpose, and that's exactly what I'm hearing Nate say right there. When you have a purpose of something that you're really striving for, something you're trying to fulfill, then I think it can help overcome fear or really any other obstacle that comes at you. When you don't have a purpose, that's when you flounder or you change your goals, or you change yourself to fit whatever your circumstances are. But when you have a purpose, then you'll up your goals to rise to whatever your purpose is. And I know that's certainly true of me. You know, when I go through periods of time where I don't really have a focus, or I don't really have something that I'm striving for, a purpose that I'm trying to achieve or anything, then, I'll just do whatever, or I'll slack on reaching my goals or whatever. But when I have a purpose, and I would place purpose above a goal, right? When you really have something that you believe in and that you're trying to achieve or striving for, then you're going to set goals that are going to help you to achieve that. And so, yeah, I think having purpose. I was just reading through some of the comments in the chat and everything, and I see Nate, Nasty Nate. We won't get into your name, Nate, but I saw your question there, 2-part question, that you live in Minneapolis and you're wondering if you're going to be able to find any deals since Peter's there. And so, that gets back to fear, right? And because I've seen this so many times, somebody sees someone else being successful in a market and they're like, well, I guess I better not do that because somebody else is already there and they already have that market wrapped up. And I would challenge you on that part of your question, Nate, and anyone else. I would challenge you to adopt McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's philosophy. And that is, when you see a McDonald's on a corner, who's the first people to move in? You're going to see a Burger King build right across the street. You're going to see Wendy's build on the opposite corner, and so forth. And it's because there's some synergy that gets created when one is there. Yeah, there's business, but when two's there, it brings more business to the area. And I think it's a similar concept in real estate. And so I would, if I were you, Nate, I would go into that market thinking, I'm going to beat Peter, right? And create some friendly rivalry. You don't have to hate Peter like Nate Armstrong used to.
Like Nate.
Create some friendly competition and rivalry that's going to elevate both of you and everything. And then you also ask a question. I'm sorry if I'm taking too long. You asked the question about, can you wholesale in another state? So, and do you need a partner in that area and all that kind of stuff? It certainly helps, right? I would say it's easier to do a deal right next door to you, generally speaking, than it is one, 1,000 miles away. And if you're going to do one 1,000 miles away, it's probably easier if you have somebody there on the ground that you can trust. But the fact of the matter is you can do it no matter what. We have somebody that works on Nate's real estate team. His name's Nathan. Wow, we got a lot of Nates going around here. And and he does this from London, England. And so you can do it from anywhere, but it's all mindset, right? I mean, that's why we're here. We're talking about fear. It's all your mindset. And I have to admit, my mind gets junky from time to time. And so I rely on folks like Nate Armstrong and Peter to help me clear out my mind and everything. But if you have your mind right, then you can do a deal no matter where you are. I'm absolutely convinced of that. And now I'll sit back.
Well,
Well
and I don't know exactly if this is the way to answer this question, but like, I just feel like there's a little bit of fear is kind of healthy. It's kind of what drives me. Like I just think there's some healthy fears. Like every time I pick up the phone to call a new lead, like I don't know what's going to happen. And I remember when I first started, like that was the hardest part for me, was those phone calls. I'd get nervous, but I don't know. I feel like it kind of keeps me sharp, like those butterflies. You guys know what I'm talking about? And then, the other side of it is, for me, I think it's always been like this fear of failure has kind of driven me. But I've flipped that script and made it into more of a healthy thing where like, I'm not necessarily afraid to fail, but I know that there is kind of that underlying tone within myself where I'm like, I would never, and here's the thing, I've had challenges over the years. I had a horrible failed business relationship that literally almost bankrupted me. And I had to start over, almost not from scratch, because I mean, I knew how to build this up, but like, I've been in rebuild mode for a year and a half because somebody stole a whole lot of money from me. And so I guess all this to say that, you can't let fear define you, but I feel like you can use it for
Drive
this
you.
jet fuel, like push yourself a little bit. And that, I know that for me, I've always had like such a competitive spirit too. I know Nate is like really competitive. Chris, I'm getting to know you and I already can see you're a really competitive guy. But like, that's really the thing that I see within the guys and gals and companies and stuff that, is kind of that spirit of competition, like a healthy thing, But I think the underlying thing that's underneath that spirit of competition is kind of that underlying, like, oh man, I cannot fail. Like, I will not fail. Like, that is not an option, And if you can keep that on a healthy side and so that so it's not drowning you, because that fear can drown you. That fear can take over you, and it can it can force you back into wherever you came from. Let's just say I don't know where all of you are at, but like, let's just say you're in a 9-to-5 right now and you want to work your way out of that and become a business owner and do real estate. That fear could push you into this and then push you right back out. So you got to know how to harness that and use it in a positive way.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, we're getting great chat going on over here too. Looks like people are you guys having fun? You guys enjoying this? I hope so. And I want to take a second to give a quick round of applause. And those of you that are on the chat over there, let Louisa know that you're thankful for her pulling this together. Louisa organized this for you guys. So this is all for you. Louisa said, you know what, we really got to get out there and help some people. So thank you, Louisa. And if you guys could give Louisa a shout out in the chat, I'd appreciate it. Maybe she would do more of these with us too. There you go.
Thanks to everyone that joined us. And I hope we can do this more often.
Yeah.
And I think we can go, like, we can start the round of questions from the audience. We were taking some, but like we can start taking all the questions that we are getting here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thanks to everyone that is writing in the comments. Thank you very much.
And I see here we got Liana on. Hi, Liana. Nice to see you here. Liana's rocking it out there. I follow your posts, Liana, so you're doing great. Liana said that in her first month with us, she got a couple deals done. Boom! That's awesome. That's awesome, and I can see that
Really
you're
good,
continuing.
yes.
Her train keeps moving right down the tracks. And then I see Igor had replied that Nate has a couple kids. That's his motivation. Liana has 4 kids. That's double the motivation. Kids are a motivator. They definitely are. But it doesn't have to be kids. It can be whatever your purpose is in life. Find that thing and execute it. We have, in our program, we have something called daily direction or daily devotions. And it's just our daily reminder of what we're doing and why we're doing it. The money alone is not worth the effort to build a business. It doesn't have to be real estate. I'm talking any business. When you're building a business, if you're going to take it to a level of success greater than you've seen in your life so far, it requires us to go through some change. It requires us to get better and get educated. And usually the only way that we can do that is if we're willing to have something that we're going to push for and push hard for. So that sense of purpose. I can see here, like the folks on this call right now, Chris and Peter, they've got a sense of purpose. They know what they're doing and why they're doing it. They're pushing, and that's why they're able to hit big numbers. Don't worry if you don't have 4 kids. Sorry, Chris.
But Nate, just to piggyback on that, yes, I think we do have purpose, but we still have to be reminded of it. And that's why one of the things I love about since joining you and the team and everything, and is that daily devotion or daily direction, that you have, it serves as a daily reminder of, why I'm doing this and what I need to do to be successful at it. So no matter what level you've achieved or whatever, you got to be reminded constantly. We're all human beings. So.
Well said. So we got one of our guests on here is asking, their fear is building a buyer's list. Maybe we start with Peter on this one. Peter, you talked about having access to the national buyers list, and I know you're a buyer expert. Should this fear be out there about getting buyers for deals?
No, I can totally empathize with that. It is a little bit unnerving at first, but what's going to happen is you're going to start getting, once you start building your pipeline of deals, like, man, these guys just come out of the woodwork, because a lot of people like these, and most people don't know how to do this, and they don't take the time or spend the money to go out and get good at advertising and converting leads and getting contracts signed. So they rely on people like us and in order to bring them deals, because there's tons of people out there who love to buy and hold or flip or whatever. So I call this my relationship network. I've built this up, and actually the cool thing is my relationship network both buys properties from me, and it also brings me properties. So like this morning, it brought me a property. I got it under contract, and now I'm going to wholesale it. But last week I sold a property to somebody in my buyers list. And by the way, this is a living and breathing organism, and so this thing is always growing and getting better and getting bigger, and like there's really not ever a time where I'm not looking to expand that. And I mean, just recently I actually brought in 2 new buyers, and guess what? Both of those buyers are also private money people. So, you know, there's a lot of things that, so not only my relationship network doesn't just bring in buyers and sellers, and properties, but it also actually, like, I can't tell you how much money I've loaned or been loaned to over the years through this network. Like, this thing is just a money machine. And so it's not something to be afraid of as much as it is something to work hard at and be excited about. And with a little bit of time and effort, you're going to build something that's going to, you know, potentially be like, you know, I mean, this can bring in generational type wealth and, you know, leave a lasting legacy. You know, now my son, he's 17, about to graduate this year. And guess what? He wants to join me in my business because he watches what dad does. And he's like,
Awesome.
man, this is awesome. Like, what you do is exciting. It's different. Like, I don't know anybody else who does this stuff. You know, he listens to me on the phone, and, you know, and he comes, he's been coming on appointments with me since he was little. So he knows it, you know. I mean, it's so much fun.
How can you keep people from stealing from you? And this might be in reference to the comment you made earlier, Peter. This is from Chrissy.
Yes.
Hi, Chrissy. How can you people from stealing from you? Maybe we can answer it 2 ways: stealing in general and stealing deals, because that's a applicable question for a lot of people.
I just think that if you do things the right way and you have things buttoned up tight, you have contracts. I mean, people can't steal a deal from you once it's under contract. I mean, really, like, I mean, I guess they could. I don't think I've ever had that done. Now, people, I compete against others, other investors and buyers in the market, and I can't really call that stealing. If somebody chooses to work with somebody else, then obviously I either didn't do my job right or they did their job a little better than I did. So I can't really, you know, I can't be mad about that. I can be disappointed. Maybe I can be disappointed I didn't get the deal, or disappointed in myself for maybe not taking the extra step to, you know, make sure I got a signed contract. But I don't, I guess, and I'll even say this much too, like, there are a lot of sharks in this business, and you do have to watch your back to some degree, but that's not, I'll be honest with you, like, I don't ever think about that. I conduct my business the way I know I'm supposed to. I do things the right way. I treat people well, and it's always come back to me in spades. So it's not, I don't have a fear of people stealing deals from me. You know, does it happen once in a while where, you know, somebody gets a deal, you know, that I wanted? Oh, I see. You guys, so Chrissy is kind of clarifying, how did Peter get stolen from? That was a bad business relationship. I mean, that can happen to anybody. It had nothing to do with real estate. So I guess that's the answer to that.
That one, to prevent some of those bad business relationships, because I think all of us have had a taste of heartburn in that department, but
Yeah.
it comes down to the people. Like, before, it's kind of like getting married. If you're going to get married to someone, you're going to take your time. You're going to date for a little bit. You're going to try some things. Maybe you just try a couple projects and all that kind of stuff before you jump into a full-blown business relationship. And look for people's integrity. Look for the things that you don't learn in school, like the stuff you learn from mom and dad: honesty, accountability, and integrity. And if someone honors their word, like when they commit to something and then their actions follow up with that, so not just they say they're going to do it, but they actually do it, it'll say a lot about the integrity of a person right there.
Yeah.
Next one from Randy. Randy's asking, he said there's no deals for around 31 grand in the country. Do you do creative finance deals? And we can toss this out to everybody. I'll answer it one, because there's one that we're signing paperwork that's closing in 2 days. We got a house for $7 grand. The approximate Zillow value is $198,000. The broker says it's worth a little bit more than that, but we got it for $7 grand. Now, does it sound crazy? Yeah, it does. Here's how it happened. It was a Facebook lead, came in through marketing. Seller came in. I got to sit down with him. His name is Kong. I still text with Kong back and forth. Him and his wife are very, very grateful that we bought their house. They needed a little bit of moving money to get on down to the next city. He lost his job, couldn't pay his mortgage, got 3 months behind. He needed to move, and they needed some cash to move. So we gave him $7,000 cash so that he could move his family, and he was happy as ever. And the trade was that we would take over the existing mortgage from there. It doesn't mean that I went to the bank and like signed paperwork or had to show them any of my financials or anything like that. It just simply means, hey, Kong, you go ahead, deed the house over to our entity. I'll give you the $7,000 so you can move on, and then I'll start making payments to the bank. Well, fast forward, it's been 2 months now. What we did is in a 3-week window, actually it was about 10 days. We went in, cleaned up the property, literally just had to clean it, do a little bit of painting touch up, and we listed it. The first day on market, we listed it for $189,900, and it sold for $185,000 the first day on market. And now that is closing. The buyer had a loan, so we had to wait a little bit for the appraisal and all that kind of stuff. And now that closes here on Thursday. It's scheduled to close this week. So that was a $7,000 deal right there. So don't think you have to have all the cash to do these deals, because I will listen to Chris and Peter on this answer too. But I know that they do deals without taking a bunch of cash out of their bank account, and then they make a bunch of cash when they sell the deal. Chris or Peter, you want to take a crack at that one?
Yeah, I'll talk about one that just happened the other day. Got a lead on a deal, and it was just a little old lady needed to sell her house. And looking back on it, I can see where she probably didn't give me all the details. I will assume that was by mistake and not on purpose. But anyway, so she tells me about her situation, that she needs to sell and everything, and or would like to sell, is how she phrased it at first. And it was a house. I said, how much do you want? It was on about an acre of land, if I remember correctly, just under, and just barely outside the country, like out in the country, about 5 minutes outside of town. And so we looked into it and everything. She was saying that it should be worth somewhere around $250,000. Turns out to be worth about $130,000. So, and that's all fixed up, which it was not all fixed up. And so anyway, she, when I had the hard conversation with her, right? The conversation where you have to dash their dreams, and you have to say, I did my research, talked to the appropriate people, and I found out that, unfortunately, your house is not quite worth what you were hoping it was worth. And the key for that was, and this is, Nate said it earlier, you have to listen, right? The key for it was, in that deal, was that she is in a tough situation. I don't know all the details, but even after me telling her that all fixed up, her house is worth $130,000, which means I would have to pay her a lot less than that to do the deal, she still comes back at me and says, I understand. What will you give me? Well, as soon as they say that, you know that you can move forward on the deal, right? That shows some motivation there. Whereas before that, she was maybe playing a little coy or something. And so, yeah, get creative with them in that situation. I asked her, I said, well, if I pay you all cash, I'm not going to be able to really make this work to give you near what you need. As it turns out, we're going to be able to structure the deal so that the house itself, the property itself, we are going to buy for a total of about $55,000. We're going to be able to give her just enough to move on, so a little less than $5,000, and then we will structure it to where the remaining $50,000 will be a combination of us keeping up with the monthly mortgage. She owes about $30,000 on it still. So we're going to keep up with that monthly mortgage payment for the next 6 months while we go in, and we're going to wholesale this, but the cash buyer is going to go in and do the repairs while we pay that mortgage, while they pay the mortgage. And then at the tail end, when they turn around and flip the property, sell the property, that's when her $30,000 mortgage will get paid off. Another $20,000 will be paid out to her, and she'll be able to move on. And so the deal will be done by that point. So that's, thinking outside the box a little bit. It's not a subject to, well, I guess technically it kind of is, but it is not a long-term subject to, not a long-term seller finance or anything like that. We are just getting the seller financing while the rehab is going forth, so that we don't have to get, any help me out here, any other financing.
And how'd you find that one, Chris?
Facebook.
Okay.
Facebook, straight off Facebook.
So you had to give Zuckerberg a little bit of money to
Yep.
to play in his arena.
We partnered with Zuckerberg on that one. That's
Yep.
correct.
That's how it works. Zuck's got a piece of everybody's pie now.
Yeah.
But so those of you that are asking the question, like, oh gosh, do I need a bunch of money? Here's the thing: you do need some money. That when I hear the myth, no money down. Yes, it's possible to do no money down deals. It is. But the reality is that you got to find those sellers. And usually there's a cost to finding the sellers, or an immense amount of time. And the fastest way to get them is to do marketing that brings the sellers to you, or you put in a lot of time and you build a big network and you start getting deals that way. But if you want to get deals quick, then you pay Zuckerberg a little bit of money, and then you start getting sellers coming to you. And then when the sellers are coming to you asking you for help, now you can structure deals where you don't have to inject mass amounts of money. You can wholesale them. You could buy them subject to, there's a lot of different ways that you can do it, but you do need a little bit of money. I picture it like this. It's like, if I'm going to build a bank, you ever notice who has their name on the sides of buildings, like Chase Manhattan, US Bank? It's never like the rehabber. It's never the wholesaler. I'm stealing this from Chris, by the way. Chris taught me this. So it's always like the banks, right? Well, let's think like the bank. Let's build a bank. What happens in a bank? A banking relationship is you place a small deposit, and then you can later withdraw more money, typically. And that's the way that the banks make their money. They put small loans on the streets, and then they cash in on the interest rate and all that kind of stuff over time. Us as real estate investors, we do the same. We make small deposits and we make big withdrawals. Small deposits, big withdrawals. Okay.
We have a question from Eddie. How many hours a week or month do you have to put in?
Peter?
From Eddie.
Okay.
This is really, I mean, how successful do you want to be, I guess? You know what I mean? Like,
How
I
quickly?
can run my business with not really putting in that much time, and I can make plenty of money. If you're scaling and like, it just kind of depends. But I don't know what you guys think, but I think you could probably run this and make really good money at like 15 to 20 hours a week or less. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I do. I think what you said is true. How big do you want to get? And also, how quickly do you want it to happen? Right. I mean, if you're okay with it, maybe being more of a gradual progression and everything, then you put in 5-10 hours a week and make a little bit of progress each week toward your ultimate goal. If you want it to happen faster, then find a way to carve out more time. But yeah, I think you can do it with minimal hours if you needed to.
I agree with you both. You could put in 80 hours a week. You could put in 5 hours a week. It depends on how you build the structure, and if you're going to have team members. If you're not going to have team members, the main thing is that even if you're going to have team members, it's important that you understand the business, because your team members are going to look for leadership, and if you can't provide that leadership, then they're going to flounder. They won't achieve the same success that you want them to achieve. So it just depends on what kind of business you want to build.
Well, and Igor actually just said something that really resonates with me. The hours could reduce later down the line when everything is automated and scaled. So I'm in the process of scaling again. And I'm also in the process of helping this organization to scale. So, between those two things, like, I'm busy right now. I still make plenty of time for my family and the things I want to do and working out and my hobbies and, my kids and stuff. But like, realistically, I'm putting in more hours right now than I have in quite some time. And I'm okay with that, because I know this is an end, or this is a means to an end. There's no way I would continue doing this indefinitely, but at the same time, like, I'm okay with making this time commitment and this investment into myself and into this organization and into my own organization for for a period of time until it can get up and running and be automated, just like you're saying. That's a very good point, Igor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Louisa, did we get them all?
I was checking that. I think we have one that is, how do I get quick information on situations that are rare? I had a lead with an AAG loan, which I knew nothing about. I reached out to someone about subject to, but I didn't get a response.
Peter or Chris, you guys know about AAG loans?
Like the insurer? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know if that's mortgage company or what it is. Either
I'm
way,
wondering if it's a reverse mortgage. I'm not sure, but I've seen the name, but I haven't dealt with them directly, so I'm not sure.
okay. Peter, if you closed a reverse mortgage,
Yeah, that's
Reverse
there's
mortgage
really strict.
for retirees.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you meant.
I've
Okay.
done a couple of
Sorry that I
foreclosure deals.
interrupted you.
Oh, that's okay. Done a couple of foreclosure deals. There's a lot of red tape around those, and you just have to, like, when you buy it, you're just stuck at their price, and like that's the only thing I really know. I've done a couple of them, but that was it.
I think the big kicker on those, and Nate, correct me if I'm wrong, but the big kicker on those is, the whole idea of the reverse mortgage is to give the people the money now, so that when they either leave the home, they retire and go, or they go to maybe an assisted facility or go live with family, or they pass away, then that's when the reverse mortgage gets paid off and the mortgage company gets their money back and everything. And so the big key there is when that person leaves the home, that's when it's due, is my understanding. And so if you're trying to get creative on that, then I'm sure there are some ways that you could, try and make sure that the mortgage company doesn't find that out. But that kind of, they are, truly supposed to pay that off when they leave the home. So kind of isn't like a traditional mortgage where you can do subject twos very cleanly and all that. I don't know how I would do it, to be honest. I'm not sure if Nate or Peter does.
you're both right. Everything I know about reverse mortgage, it's the due on sale clause is in effect as soon as the person moves out. So you can't do any kind of subject to or wrap mortgage or rent to own. It's going to be invalidated by the contract. So you're better off trying to negotiate a price and just buying it outright. And it sounds like Peter took some through for the closure process. So, but you just make an offer and they'll either take it or they don't take it. No big deal. One thing to know is not to get stuck though. Like when you're waiting for one deal and one deal only, then sometimes we get stuck and we want to like force deals to go through because we're excited. But the thing is, when you're doing any kind of marketing, when we partner with Zuck a little bit here, Mr. Zuckerberg, then you get leads coming all the time. And then you're going to prioritize and you're going to go after the ones that make sense. You want to have so many sellers coming to you that you don't have to get stuck on one deal and try to force numbers through. Your numbers are your numbers. You submit the offer and you keep going.
Keep in mind also in a situation like that, not in every situation, but in most situations like that, the family, who's probably the ones that are trying to sell the house in those situations, is probably somewhat motivated, maybe not from the standpoint of needing money, but certainly from the standpoint of just being ready to move on. Right. So there might be some motivation, which means that we might be able to get a slightly lower price for the cash offer.
We got another post here from Randy. He's asking, is a 203K multifamily loan a good idea to start with? Peter, have you dealt with it?
I think that there's nothing wrong with doing a 203K loan. If that's what you choose, if that's how you choose to do it, there's other ways to find money, but if 203K is something that you can qualify for and do that, the last word in that is the key, is start.
I like that.
Like if you don't ever start, then you don't know what you could have been or what you could have done. So if there's a way to start for you that you're comfortable with, then and that makes sense financially, and you're going to make some money, then do it.
It's good.
Bingo. Did we get them all, Louisa?
Yeah, we got them all. I was going to ask if anyone has any more questions to share.
We have one
Okay.
more from Nasty Nate.
He says, I trade the stock market, and FOMO, fear of missing out, can be huge. Do you guys run into this, or are you very rigid when you make an offer?
I'll answer this one because I teach this one a lot. I get a large volume of deals after I've said no, or after somebody said no to me. I would estimate somewhere in the 30% or higher of all deals I've ever done. And I don't know exactly how many deals I've done, but it's probably in the 1,500 to 2,000 range over the years. And I seriously think at least 30% of those came after there was a no, or somebody, one side or the other, was moving on. So I don't have any fear of missing out at all. In fact, I teach not to fear missing out, because it's going to land you a lot better deal than continuing to push your price higher and higher and higher into a point where you're not comfortable, where you don't have a win. I would rather say no and move on to the next one, and with the potential opportunity that somebody's going to come back to me because maybe the investor that they went with didn't perform, or whatever happened. So that's my answer to that.
Well said.
Love that.
Chrissy's asking, what if I need to make 50K in the next 60 days? I'm still putting in time learning. How much time per week? Chrissy, here's the thing. I assure you that between the three panelists here, we will accomplish the goal that you're looking to hit, the 50K within 60 days. We've also been at this for a while, so we don't want to sit here and say, hey, you can replicate exactly what we're doing, because we don't know you. We don't know your work ethic. We don't know the background, the network you can have, and all that kind of stuff. But let me ask you this, Chrissy, and anyone else that's doing deals right now, how much per deal are you averaging, or how much per deal are other people in your market averaging? If you just do a clean wholesale deal, what's the dollar amount? Go ahead, type it in the chat. What's the dollar amount that you're seeing? Liana says 10K. Okay. Peter, what are you seeing? Just average.
Mine is probably recently, it's going to go up now with a couple deals, but probably around like 12, 13.
Okay. Awesome. So, Chrissy, I don't want to put words in your mouth or anything like that, but there's other people out there right now that are doing about 10 a deal. And if you break it down with simple math, if I needed to make 50 in the next 60 days, I would break down the math and I would figure out the actions that I had to do it. And the math tells me I need to do 5 deals. How do I get 5 deals? Well, I got to talk to a certain number of sellers. I got to make a certain number of offers. And if you need help with that, reach out to our team. We'll jump on a call. We'll help map out those numbers for you. But for us, it's just numbers, and then naturally you got to have, you got to know what to say, when to say it, how to say it, and that's where good mentoring and coaching comes in. Okay. Cool. I think we nailed them all, guys. So
yeah, we did. Well, you did.
Cool. And Igor is saying around 50 offers to make 5 deals. And that may or may not be true for some people. That's probably Igor's numbers. Igor, thank you. If you get a guy like Chris or Peter, or we've got one of our students, John, if you get those guys in a room with a seller, because they're honest, because they're transparent with the seller, because they're very, very open with them. Peter teaches the art of the heart with all of the students that he works with. And with that whole honest, transparent relationship, the conversion rates can go up dramatically. It's not like you're going to get 100%, because it's not, you're never going to get 100% of the people that you sit down with, but your conversion should go up dramatically when you're being very, very honest with them, because sellers can feel that. They know the shark from you. If you're coming in with heart first and really talking to them from that level, then your conversion rates can go through the roof, because people want to work with people that they can trust, that they feel good about working with. So everyone's conversion rates are a little bit different, but I know John doesn't need 10. You get John with like 4, and he's going to probably get a contract. It's one of those good old boys that he'll talk your ear off for an hour, but he'll also know everything about you, and he really cares about people, and he signs a lot of contracts from it.
Nate, can I answer one more that
Please.
just passed by?
Yeah.
So I've seen Robert ask this twice about the buyers list. And I'll just give you 3 off the top of my head, Robert. And I don't know what area you're in, but if you're in, any decent size area or near, whatever decent size area, 3 off the top of my head is to build a buyers list is to go to YouTube, Craigslist, and Google, and simply type in "we buy houses." So we buy houses near wherever you are, Houston. We buy houses near Nashville or wherever you are. And I'll guarantee you, just look for phone numbers in all the listings that you see, like YouTube videos where it says, somebody's sitting there saying we buy houses in the Houston metro area. Just go through those videos and collect phone numbers from people. And that right there is a great start to building a list. You're going to have to do some work. You're going to have to reach out to them. You're going to have to begin building a relationship with those folks, but it is right there in your fingertips. And if you started that as soon as we got off the call, then within the next hour, you can have 20 phone numbers to be able to start reaching out to people.
One other good place is any real estate clubs that are in your area, like the RIAs and meetups and stuff like that. You can find those, and you're going to find a wealth of people. Now, some of them are going to have a bunch of tire kickers who never do anything, so you got to watch out for the talkers. Yeah. But in every real estate club, there's a couple of guys hanging out at the back of the room that do most of the business. Just find those 2 guys or 5 guys and congregate to them, and you'll be fine.
And that's the better quality leads right there. So yep. that's probably the number one. And then what I mentioned would probably be a secondary.
Awesome. I think this time we did answer all the questions.
And I see Randy says, hey, I want help. And those of you that still have questions, if you want to go a little bit deeper on this stuff, first off, did you enjoy Chris? Did you enjoy Peter? Can you let me know over in the chat? Let these guys know. They're both busy dudes, and it was a blessing and a privilege to get them here on live. So if you've enjoyed them, let us know in the chat. Let them know how you feel. Yeah, they've been great. Yes. Thank you. Always great to listen to the team. Thank you guys. Yeah.
Thanks, Deanna. It's nice to see you.
Oh, that's great.
Even Mr. Nasty Nate says, great chat. Thanks, Nasty Nate. Appreciate you, man.
He did mention to us that he's not actually nasty.
Yeah, that was important.
Well, if you guys find yourself in a spot where you do want someone to help you, just reach out to our team. I'll give you guys a link. Feel free to use it. Otherwise, there's a million ways to get a hold of us, but you can reply to the email that you got inviting you here. You could drop a comment below this Facebook post. Just let us know. Just type something like deals or talk with the team. And I'll also put a link here for you too in the chat. It's socialmediablueprint.com/call. socialmediablueprint.com/call. And that will let you book a call with us. And we're happy to talk to you guys. You can see here that we've got really good people here that help a lot of people. So we're happy to talk to you guys. And you got Bonnie that says, thank you for your down-to-earth conversation expertise. Awesome. Louisa, Chris, Peter, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys coming together.
Thanks to you all.
Everybody.
Oh, this was fun. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks to everyone that joined us today.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Take care.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Igor. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.